Hey everyone, Kaylee here with Maria Menounos Updo from the Oscars this year. A lot of you guys requested that I do this hairstyle and I really liked it, so I decided to do it. Let's go ahead and get started. First off, let's talk about your texture. If you want to recreate what she had, you're going to want kind of a tighter, somewhat frizzy curl, but you can see I'm just going with loose curls. And then I added in some extensions because she has a lot more hair than I do. I totally wish I had her amount of hair. But basically I separated my hair from the ears up and I put in this giant extension weft. And in retrospect, I might not have needed that one, but I did also put two little ones on either side of my part in the front, and you're gonna have a middle part for this unless you really don't want to do a middle part, then you can do a side part. And those I needed a little bit more because my hair is kind of thin in the front. And then if you want to bump your hair for this, you go ahead and bump it now. I decided not to, just to stay more close to the original style. So then all we're doing is French braiding the front right next to the hairline. You start with the hair right next to the hairline and French braid back diagonally, going towards the back center of the head, picking up hair from both sides as you go. And basically you go until you reach the hair just past the ear, and then you're going to braid the rest normally and finish it off with a small band. Now it's important for this that you don't braid too tightly around that front hairline, or else you're going to look kind of bald from the front and the hair could look a little bit too pulled back. So you want to make sure to keep it nice and loose around the hairline. And then keep a medium level of tension for this braid because you're going to pull it apart a little bit to make it bigger later. Once you get to the end, like I said, we're going to go ahead and secure it with a small band. Then you're going to repeat the exact same thing on the other side. The most important thing to this French braid is, first of all, like I said, make sure that you don't pull it back too tightly, and second of all, to make sure that you're doing it at a diagonal angle. If you do it downward and then try to pull it back diagonally, you'll make funny little bumps that you'll see from the front, and those could be a little bit annoying to deal with, so make sure that you're braiding in the correct direction. Once you have both of those braids done, you can pull them apart a little bit, and then we are done with this step, and we're going to move on to braiding the rest of the hair. So you're going to take the rest of the hair in the back and split it in half, and then you're just going to braid both sides like you would do if you were just doing little pigtail braids. So you just braid all the way down with about a medium level of tension or really loose tension, and then you're going to go ahead and pull it apart so you have this really big loose braid, and you'll see why we do this later. But really you want to pull this apart and get it as huge as you possibly can. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side, making sure that you braid loosely, and also make sure you don't accidentally leave any little pieces of hair out because that's annoying to deal with later. And then once you have all that done, of course, we're going to pull that one apart as well so it's just as loose, and we're done with this step. And now we're moving on to the bun. You're going to take one side and wrap it in the first half of the oval that makes the bun. Basically just wrap your hair into half of an oval shape, and then make sure you don't have any of your hair parting over the top like you can see mine doing right there. I went ahead and just took my hand and loosened it up so that you wouldn't see any weird part line, and there would be a little bit of lift to that area. And then you just pin that half of the bun in place. And then you make the other half with the other side. What this does is it gives the effect of looping and pinning lots and lots of little pieces of hair without doing all of that work, because we're going to cover this up later, so we don't need to put all the work in. This way you can get that nice kind of looped look without putting all that extra effort into it. So now let's finish it off. You're going to take the remaining braids and pin them at the top corners of the bun that we just made. So you can see I'm pulling this one back and I'm pinning it in place, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Then you're just going to work with whatever amount of hair you have left. You can see I have quite a bit of length here, so I'm wrapping this one side around the outside of the bun and actually tucking the tail of it into the loops so it looks like the braid just kind of disappears into it, which is a cool look. Then with the other side, I'm going to drape it in the way that hers was draped in the original hairstyle. This really takes it back to the original hairstyle because you could see this kind of looped braid hanging out on top of the rest of the bun. So I wanted to make sure to incorporate that. But once you have all the remaining hair that you have left pinned, you are done. And you can arrange those braids in any way that works with your hair length. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Check out my previous Oscars tutorial by clicking on the screen or in the description box. And I will see you guys on Friday with my next video. Mwah! Bye!